Right, so we can scratch off week 1 now. I just jumped on the scales. I was down to 23.8, which is just a little bit less than what I was hoping. I thought I'd get about 7 pounds off in the first week, which is kind of normal. In your first week you're going to lose quite a bit of fluid, and your body kind of just goes into shock as well from doing the cardio and, you know, eating at specific times and extremely clean, you know, and like no milk in your coffee and stuff like that. So the body does go into shock and it loses a little bit more weight in the first week than it does in the weeks following. But we're close. I can hopefully get a few more pounds off this week for next week's weigh-in. You just use the weight on the scales just to gauge how much you're losing every week, just to make sure that you're progressing. So as long as that scales keeps going down, I know that I'm progressing. If it plateaus, then I know I need to make changes. I need to either increase my cardio or I need to decrease my calories slightly in my foods, but I only make those changes when the weight doesn't really come off on the scales. Throughout this transformation, I use the FST training principle, and I use this mainly on my weaker body parts or weaker appearing body parts, such as my rear delts, my rear part of the shoulders. And the FST stands for Fascia Stretch Training with 7 sets. So I'll normally work this weaker body part, like my rear delts, at the end of the workout, where I'll do 7 sets back to back with around 30 seconds rest and around 15 repetitions. In between these sets, I normally stretch the fascia of the muscle. So the fascia is a thick sheath of muscle that when you stretch it out and it becomes a little bit thinner, it gives the muscle more room to grow and gives you that fuller appearance. Another training strategy I like to use is supersets. So supersets is when I do 2 exercises back to back with no rest at all. But once I've done those 2 exercises, that's when I rest, and that counts as 1 set. And sometimes I'll go as far as doing a giant set, which is 3 exercises back to back with no rest. But once I've done those 3 exercises, that's when I'll rest and do it all over again. The last training principle I like to utilize are drop sets. Drop sets is where you knock out as many reps as you possibly can. When you cannot do any more, you make the weight a little bit lighter and again do as many reps as you can. Sometimes I'll do this as a double drop set, sometimes I'll do this as a triple drop set. It puts the muscles under extreme stress, and it kind of shocks it to grow and get more production out of your workout. If you want to learn more about these training principles, go onto the bodybuilding.com super site and go into the training section, where you can find a lot more detail about these various programs and how to perform them. So I'll see you at the gym for chest and triceps. Get your head into the game, because we're going to hit it hard today. We want to make sure we're properly warmed up before we get into the heavy sets, so complete 2 warm-up sets before your working sets. Make sure you stretch out between your warm-up sets and between your working sets. We're going heavy today, so we're only doing 2 sets of around 6 to 8 repetitions. So you may feel a bit wobbly when you're positioning yourself on the bench with the dumbbells, but your fixators will soon strengthen up, and you'll find it easier to put the weights on your thighs when you lay down, bring the weights to your chest, and then exhale as you get that first repetition up to position yourself. I'm starting to cramp up in my hamstrings here, and it's making it really difficult for me to continue on and stay focused. Cramp in my hamstring. I'm going to listen to my body on this one and forget it and move on to the next exercise. Next up is a flat bench press. We're doing 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions. This will be a lighter weight than your chest press, but we're going to be adding in an extra set. For the flies, you want to position your arms like hooks and really focus on separating the chest muscles downward in the eccentric movement.
You want your arms as wide as possible to make sure that you get a good stretch, then bring the weight together as you finish the upward movement.
What's that? What's that?
Alright, on our third exercise we're doing the same fly movement as before, but at an incline with cables instead of dumbbells, just to make sure that we get a good squeeze at the middle portion of the pectoral muscle. I've positioned an incline bench in between the cable towers. I like doing cable flies for added resistance on the inner pecs. For the remainder of today's workout, we're going to do a drop set on the last set of each exercise. I'll be starting at a heavy weight that I can do around 8 to 10 repetitions. Then immediately after, I'll decrease the weight a little and do another 8 to 10 reps, and so on. Now we're doing cable crossovers, and we're going to do 3 sets of 10 repetitions. These are similar in movement to the other flies, but you'll be standing and slightly bending over. This angle works different aspects of the chest that we've already hit. With these, I'll have an offset foot stance for a more stable base, and this will really hit the lower portion of the pecs. We're doing drop sets on this exercise as well, so make sure that you continue to drop the weights as you continue through the reps. Now we're on to tricep cable pushdowns, and there we'll be doing 3 sets of around 16 to 18 repetitions. So as you can see here, I'm putting a 45-pound plate through the pin because there's just not enough weight on the stack, so I'm increasing it. Just be careful and make sure that your gym allows this if you have to do the same. The last set will be a drop set, and the beauty about using cables is that it's fast and easy to decrease the weight when you're doing a drop set, just by removing the pin from the stack and putting it into the next weight. I'm pretty fatigued at this point on my drop set, and I was only able to push out 8 reps each time, but it doesn't matter. I was able to go to failure and push the muscle to its extreme. We're going to be doing another tricep exercise. This time it's going to be the reverse cable pushdown, and we're doing 3 sets of 16 to 18 repetitions. So I'm using a wrist strap for this one. It's called a Flexolate strap. So I'm able to do this without having utilizing any grip strength. So by doing this, I'm cutting out any strength from the forearm and isolating just the triceps and the tricep only. By doing this, I find that I'm able to focus 110% on the triceps without using any assisting muscles. like to rest my arm against the tower just to help to isolate the tricep and prevent any swinging, so you know, it helps me stay a little bit more strict on this movement. Remember, we're doing drop sets for the last set on this exercise. Your triceps are most likely already fatigued, so it won't take much weight for your muscle to begin to fail, but keep pushing through though. For the last exercise, we're going to finish up with 3 giant sets of head smackers, skull crushers and rockers. Remember, a giant set is doing 3 exercises back to back with no rest. Once you've done all 3 exercises, that's when you rest, and we're going to do it all over again. As you can see, I'm doing 7 reps of each exercise within this giant set, so a total of 21 reps of each round. All 3 exercises are targeting our triceps on these giant sets, which will be very challenging, but by stretching back, I just find that it's able to stretch out the fascia of the tricep to give it that fuller effect, and then by extending, it just helps me target, focus, concentrate and squeeze out every ounce of detail within the tricep horseshoe muscle. So make sure you do a weight that you can complete all 3 of these giant sets without stopping. If needed, you can even do drop sets with your giant sets.
Yeah. Right, so week 1's over with. Today is the first day of week 2, so I'm starting to feel even more focused this week. I can feel it now in the gym. I'm going to get more intense as this goes along. Some people will kind of fall off or they lose focus as they go along. I'm the absolute opposite. I might not be as focused in the beginning, but then as I get just further and further through this program, I'll become more focused and more intense, which is a good thing. So energy is good, and tomorrow is just cardio. It's an easy day. See you then.
Learn about my no excuse lifestyle and how long it's been since I've missed a meal.